When was the last time you saw a painting, a film, a poem, or even a TikTok that made you stop scrolling? Not because it was entertaining, but because it said something you didn't even know you needed to hear? That's the thing about artists. We don't always understand them. We don't always value them. But we need them. Desperately, deeply, more than we admit. Today I want to talk about why artists matter. Not in the shallow art is important way you hear in school assemblies, but in the philosophical, psychological, civilization level way that shows you just how foundational art is to human survival. Not comfort, not culture, survival. Something that I've always believed is that art is how humans make sense of existence. Humans have always had a problem. We're self-aware. We don't just live, we know we're living. We know we're fragile. We know time is passing. We know loss is coming. We know nothing is permanent. And according to existential psychologists like Rollo May and Irvin Yalom, this awareness creates a kind of psychological pressure, an anxiety of being alive. They call it existential anxiety, and it sits under everything. But from the beginning of human history, there has been one consistent response to this existential pressure: art. Think about prehistoric cave paintings like the ones in Lascaux. These early humans didn't have science. They didn't have therapy. They didn't have philosophy. They had fire, fear, and questions. So what did they do? They painted. Not because it was cute, but because it was how they made sense of life. Art was where humans processed reality. Today, nothing has changed. Maybe you journal when life gets too much. Maybe you put on a song when your emotions don't know where to go. Maybe you sketch, or dance, or cook, or design, or edit videos. That's art. Art is how the human mind organizes chaos into something meaningful. A therapist can help you understand your emotions, but an artist can help you feel them. A scientist can explain a sunset, but an artist can make you cry at one. We need artists because they do something no other profession can. They translate the formless parts of human existence into form. Let's be honest. Society loves pretending. We pretend everything is fine. We pretend we're better than we are. We pretend systems are working. We pretend history is clean. But artists don't pretend well. In fact, they're terrible at it, and that's why we need them. Throughout history, artists have exposed truths that governments, institutions, and cultures tried to bury. Take George Orwell. His novel 1984 wasn't just a story, it was a warning about authoritarianism. People in power hated it, but society needed it. Or take musicians during the Vietnam War like Bob Dylan or Joan Baez, who used songs to say what politicians refused to say. Research in political science actually shows that music and art influenced public opinion and increased anti-war sentiment during that era. Or think about contemporary artists like Ai Weiwei, whose art exposes censorship and human rights violations in China. He risks his safety because the truth matters more to him than silence. Artists are society's early warning system. They see things before the rest of us. They feel cultural shifts before they're recognized. They shine light in places where the powerful don't want light. Every society that has ever gone authoritarian has attacked artists first, writers and painters, musicians, filmmakers, because they understand something. Artists hold the power to expose the truth, and the truth is dangerous to people who depend on lies. This is why we need artists. Not because they're entertaining, but because they are honest. If a civilization collapses but its art survives, we still know who those people were. Think about ancient Greece. We don't know their grocery lists or tax budgets, but we know their myths, their sculptures, their plays, their philosophy. We know how they saw the world. Art is cultural memory. It's how a society tells future humans, this is who we were. This is what mattered to us. History books give you facts. Art gives you humanity. Why do we know the tragedy of war? Because of Picasso's Guernica. Why do we understand the Great Depression emotionally? Because of Dorothea Lange's migrant mother photograph. Why do we feel the brutality of the Holocaust? Because of writers like Elie Wiesel and painters like Charlotte Salomon. Art isn't decoration, it's evidence. Without artists, cultures would vanish without a trace. No memories, no stories, no shared identity. The world needs artists because artists carried the torch of humanity across time. Here's something that blew my mind the first time I learned it. Every major leap in human understanding started with a new way of seeing, not technology, not science, seeing. And artists shape how we see. Take the Impressionists, Monet, Renoir, Degas. Before them, art tried to capture reality exactly, but Impressionists painted light and feeling instead of detail. Suddenly, people realized, reality isn't objective, it changes depending on how you look at it. That idea influenced psychology, philosophy, and even physics later. Artists often discover things before scientists name them. Filmmakers explored nonlinear time before quantum physics did. Poets understood the subconscious before Freud published a word. Musicians captured emotional complexity before neuroscience mapped the brain. Art creates the conceptual framework science later proves. Artists don't wait for permission to explore the unknown. They dive in and pull something back up for the rest of us. We need artists because they expand the boundaries of human perception. They turn invisible inner experiences into visible outer expressions. Here's a question you might have never asked. How do you know what you're feeling? Where did you learn what heartbreak feels like? Or longing? Or nostalgia? Or grief? Or joy that hits you so hard it almost hurts? Chances are you learned it from art. A song taught you the shape of heartbreak. A film showed you the texture of grief. A poem described a feeling you thought only you had. Psychological research actually confirms this. Experiencing art helps us identify and regulate emotions. There's even a term for it, emotion differentiation. People who engage with art regularly have better emotional awareness because artists give us the language to describe what's happening inside us. We need artists because they give us a mirror we can finally understand. In the 1990s, neuroscientists discovered something called mirror neurons, brain cells, that fire both when you do an action and when you see someone else doing it. This is the foundation of empathy. But what triggers mirror neurons the most? Stories, scenes, music, faces, movements, symbolism. In other words, art. That's why you cry at movies. That's why you feel connected to fictional characters. That's why you feel something in your chest during certain songs. Art simulates human experience. Every time you watch a film or read a novel, you're practicing empathy, experiencing life through someone else's perspective without leaving your chair. This is why dictators fear artists. A population that can empathize is hard to control. We need artists because they expand our hearts. They make strangers feel less strange. They make the world feel more connected, more human. Before the world changes, artists dream of the change. Science fiction writers imagine cell phones, the internet, artificial intelligence, and space travel decades before engineers built them. Designers shaped the look of modern cities before they existed. Musicians shaped entire cultural movements before politics reflected them. There's a reason innovators like Steve Jobs talked about blending technology with liberal arts. Because the future isn't built on data alone. It's built on imagination. Artists are futurists. They sketch possibilities, they prototype ideas in metaphor. They create emotional blueprints of what society could become. We need artists because they are the world's unofficial R&D department, research and development for the human spirit. Every society sleeps. We get comfortable. We accept norms. We adopt habits and beliefs without ever questioning them. Artists disrupt that. They wake us up. When everyone agrees something is normal, artists ask, is it? Should it be? When everyone thinks the same way, artists create something so strange or uncomfortable that it forces society to stop and reconsider. They break routines, they break assumptions, they break monotony, and yes, sometimes they break rules. Philosopher Slavoj Žižek said something interesting. The role of the artist is to make the familiar strange again, because once something becomes strange, you see it clearly for the first time. We need artists because complacency is dangerous, comfort is seductive, and society sleeps with its eyes open. Artists shake us awake. Have you ever listened to a song and suddenly remembered a version of yourself you forgot? Have you ever cried at a movie not because it was sad, but because it made you feel something you hadn't felt in years? Art reminds us of our own depths, our softness, our intensity, our aliveness. Modern life is numbing, infinite scrolling, daily routines, deadlines, chores, notifications, stress. You can go months without feeling anything real. But then, one day, you hear a melody that hits you, or you read a line from a poem, or you see a painting, or you watch a scene in a film, and suddenly something inside you moves. You remember you have a soul. We need artists because they resensitize us in a world that constantly numbs us. They bring us back to ourselves. Nietzsche once wrote, "To live is to suffer, but to survive is to find meaning in the suffering." This is what artists do better than anyone. They take heartbreak, trauma, grief, confusion, and they transform it into beauty, into expression, into something that helps other people feel less alone. The Japanese philosophy of kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold, captures this perfectly. Art is emotional kintsugi. A musician goes through heartbreak and makes a song that saves millions of people during their own heartbreak. A painter processes the anxiety through color and texture and gives viewers a sense of peace. A filmmaker turns their childhood wounds into stories that help others heal their own. Artists metabolize suffering into meaning. We need them because not everyone can carry pain alone. Artists carry it for us. They hold it, shape it, and hand it back in a form we can understand. Let's be real. We live in an age of machines. Algorithms decide what we see. Automation replaces jobs. AI writes emails, generates images, makes music. Technology is incredible, but it also risks flattening human experience. The more automated life becomes, the more valuable art becomes. Because art is one of the last places where human imperfection, human intuition, and human soul matter. Perfection doesn't move us, humanity does. We need artists because they remind us what machines can't be. Unpredictable, messy, raw, emotional, contradictory, alive. The future will be built by engineers, but it will be defined by artists. Take any era in human history, the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, the Golden Age of Islamic science, the Harlem Renaissance, and beneath each one, you will always find artists. Whenever society breaks, artists rebuild its identity. Whenever society evolves, artists lead the shift. Whenever society suffers, artists help it heal. We don't need artists because they paint or write or make music. We need them because without them, humanity loses its depth. A world without art would be efficient, productive, optimized, and utterly lifeless. Art is the heartbeat of civilization. If you're an artist, watching this, listen closely. The world may not always reward you. It may not always understand you. It may not always value you the way you deserve, but the world needs you. It needs your sensitivity, your imagination, your courage, your perceptions, your honesty, your weirdness, your questions, your voice. Artists don't just make things. Artists make us. We are shaped by the stories we hear, the images we see, the songs we love, the truths we encounter, and the emotions we learn to understand. And without artists, none of that would exist. The world needs you. Stay awake, stay defiant, stay imaginative, stay brave, and above all, keep creating.